Good morning and welcome to the fourth hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. Good to be with you again. I really appreciate all of you who are here. Very much appreciated. So let's see what is new. Um, I'm learning a little bit more here about the interview that Senator Josh Hawley did last night. He was on with Jesse Waters on Fox News, and Hawley talking about being told by whistleblowers what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, and that you had Homeland Security personnel who were there who had minimal protective training. So instead of having dozens of Secret Service agents on the detail for the July 13th rally, Trump was mostly guarded by Homeland Security agents who only received online webinar training before the event. So you didn't even have people out there who had real on the job kind of, this is what we do. And here's, on the ground actual training as to how to protect the president. And here's what we want you to do. And here's what we want you to look for. It's, just watch the webinar. Just watch the webinar, which didn't work. So it was a two-hour online webinar, and I talked about that on the air this morning. So I want to skip past some of this. This is a piece from the New York Post. So he said, so think about this. The former president of the U.S. is sent out on stage. Most of the people there are who are there are not trained. They're not qualified. They only got a webinar training, and even that didn't work. It's absolutely outrageous, he said. Homeland Security were pulled off of child exploitation cases and other investigations in order to serve on Trump's detail, which is something they did not normally do. Hawley also called out the secrets. Did you see this interview that Josh Hawley did with Jesse Waters on Fox News? I would love to get your thoughts on it if you did. It's pretty crazy. Hawley called out the Secret Service and the FBI for not sharing more information about the rally, where I'm trying to see what else is going to. Some of this is just, I don't want to repeat stuff you already know. And he told Jesse Waters, the only reason we have this information is because of whistleblowers. Yeah, God only knows it's not because of the legacy media. Legacy media is not out there trying to dig up any kind of truth as to what happened on that day. This is just crazy. Representative Clay Higgins revealed that a Butler SWAT team actually got off the first shots that damaged Crook's rifle and stopped his shooting spree before the Secret Service actually jumped in. So it was a SWAT team that took the initial shots, now we're learning, that stopped this guy before Secret Service then, yes, what? Something's happening? This is just crazy. So this was all, I wish I had seen this prior to this morning, that these comments by Senator Hawley, and he's really shedding more light on what actually happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. It's just shocking, isn't it? I mean, I just think this stuff is just absolutely crazy. Steve said, not coincidental, though I'd say I'm not a conspiracy theorist for thinking the attempt on Trump had government fingerprints all over it. But I really don't think I am. Steve, I don't think you're a conspiracy theory, a theorist either. But it's really kind of upsetting. It's really alarming. Now, again, there are serious problems at the Secret Service if you've got Homeland Security agents who are assigned to Trump's detail and they have had no actual training on the job training as to what they're doing. You just watch a webinar and you're good. You're good to go. I mean, that is just like absolutely absurd, insane. What kind of jobs would allow you, bring you in and just say, hey, we're just going to cut you loose. Watch the webinar and we're just going to cut you loose. You ever had a job in your life where you were prepared like that? Well, of course you haven't. It's crazy. Oh, the more we learn, the worse it gets. Yeah, David said sounds ridiculous to him. Absolutely. Absolutely agree. This is just nonsense. Let's see what else is going on this morning. There are a few stories I wanted to share with you. And I want to do some work on StreamYard. I increased my level. I was using the free version. Well, I bought a version. And so I want to, because there's more available to me. A shout out to those of you who are watching on Facebook. That was one of the reasons that I bought StreamYard, so that I could stream both on YouTube and on Facebook, where I've got a significant number of followers. There are some other things available with this that I want to investigate. And one is how to share my screen so that I can show you as I'm going through these stories. I want to be able to pull them up. I've done this in the past. I had another service at one point, so I knew how to do it. I've got to just get comfortable with StreamYard and really do some in-depth work with it so that I learn how to bring up a screen so you can see what I'm seeing and relegate me down to a little tiny corner of your, because there are a few other stories that are out there that's crazy. Get a load of this. This is headline above the fold right now at foxnews.com. The commander of the USS Navy destroyer USS John McCain has been relieved of duties because he posted a photo of himself firing a rifle, right? He's out there with a rifle, it's got a scope on it, except the scope is backwards. The scope is backwards. So he's looking through the scope, and he posts that on social media, and he got a lot of feedback, and it was not good. So the commander recently let go from his position due to a loss of confidence in his ability to command the USS John McCain, the Navy said. So out there looking through his scope backwards and then posting a photo of that. It's just crazy. He put it on his Instagram account with the caption, "From engaging in practice gun shoots." Yeah, not with that gun, you didn't. Not like that, you didn't. Conducting maintenance, testing fuel purity, and participating in sea and anchor details. The U.S. Navy is always ready to serve and protect. That's according to the Stars and Stripes. U.S. Navy is always ready, except when they're not, when they're looking through their scopes backwards. Oops, that's a big. Oh, that's a big on the job no, I should think. Just crazy when you look at that stuff. Dave says he saw the pic. Yeah, absolutely. I saw it too. And Fox News has got it. It's above the fold. You go to foxnews.com, you can see the story. And I wish I could. It's one of the reasons I wish I could screen share, because I wish I could pull it up for you. This area is very serious, looking through the looking through the scope, except the scope is backwards. Oh, yeah. And then to post it to Instagram. Yeah, I think that's the photo I'll post. Ouch. All right, let's see. This is from PJ Media. And they say, according to the latest Real Clear Politics national average, Kamala Harris has a 1.8 point lead. So 1.8 point lead. And this is, I think this Matt Margolis at PGA Media says Democrats are no doubt thrilled about this, but they really shouldn't be. Harris is running way behind both Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton at this point in the 2020 and 2016 elections. But he says, let's talk about Nate Silver's latest forecast. In Silver's latest forecast yesterday, Trump's chances of winning rose to 56.7%. That's the highest they've been since July 31st. Harris's chances dropped to 43%. In key swing states, Trump continued to strengthen his lead. He had a 57 to 43% advantage in Pennsylvania, 64 to 36% in Georgia, 67 to 33% in Arizona, 70 to 30% in North Carolina, 57 to 43% in Nevada. He's ahead of her in all of those states, according to Nate Silver. Harris's odds of winning are best in Michigan and Wisconsin, where her chances, she had a slight chances, 51 to 49%, 53 to 47%. So Nate Silver with the latest, again, this is what the odds are showing. And Nate Silver, when it comes to numbers, I think he's one of the few pollsters that I actually trust is Nate Silver, as he's taking a look at these. And then, okay, so that's what the polls are showing, right? Then it kind of boils down to what's going to happen at the actual polls and the early voting. And are we going to see last minute piles and piles of, trucks in the middle of the night dropping off ballots to be counted? Are we going to see a repeat of that kind of thing? So the polls it's good news for Donald Trump. We'll see their polls, so cross your fingers. But again, Nate Silver is one that I've come to, trust his polling. It certainly seems to be more within the realm of possibility and reality than what ABC and, the legacy media is constantly polling. So from that regard, I appreciate his polling. Where I get a little bit sideways is I still wonder, are we going to see the late night, after the polls have closed, middle of the night, bags and bags being dropped off at these polling precincts? Are we going to see a repeat of that again this year? I wonder what you think about that. Because, again, now we've had states that are trying to clean up their voter rolls. Texas would be an example. Texas Governor Greg Abbott over the weekend had said that over the last 3 years, they had eliminated over 1,000 people on their voter rolls that they had removed who were not actually eligible to vote. So they removed them from the voter rolls. You've got Glenn Youngkin, who's been doing similar things in his state. So a lot of states, and I think where it really becomes an issue is in some of these swing states. This is why my heart falls a little bit when you talk about, Michigan, when you talk about what's going on in Wisconsin. Oh, man, it's going to be close in Wisconsin. Are they cleaning up their voter rolls in the way that, Governor Abbott has done in Texas? It remains to be seen what we wind up seeing. But it's been very much on my mind. Hey, Jeff, I appreciate your comment. Jeff said, of the 1.8 lead that Kamala Harris has, if the survey required a photo ID to answer, she would be trailing by 10 points. It's a great point, I think. Absolutely great point. Why we talked about, the issue of voting and the whether that should be, making sure that people have the right to vote, um, be able to prove their citizenship before they go vote. Talked about that on the show this morning. Really appreciated your comments as well. There were some great calls regarding that. Um, Steve always makes me laugh. When will the first janitor find a box of ballots in the school closet after the election is my question. Yeah, I think that's on the minds of a lot of us. David, for years following Kennedy, there were boxes of ballots found all over in Texas. So, and I think that's what Abbott is trying to clean up down in Texas, making sure that people that are on the voter rolls actually are legitimately registered voters. And people who are not don't belong on the voter rolls. And it was interesting. I get the inevitable call from left wing Art, who calls me, and not to be confused with the Art who follows me on Facebook. Who's a very loyal listener. Liberal Art generally calls in the 7 a.m. hour. And my good Art calls in the 8 a.m. hour. That's generally how you can distinguish the two Arts. If you hear Art and it's prior to 8 a.m., it's generally left-leaning Art. And we were talking about this morning and trying to get into this issue with him. And when I see he's on the line, I'm like, I debated whether I wanted to take the call. In fact, I took several others first. Art was actually the first one. And I'm like, yeah, I just don't. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I really do love taking phone calls. I mean that very sincerely. I love getting your thoughts. And not so long as you always agree with me. But Art, God only knows why he listens. I really do not know, because the reality he lives in is not the reality I live in. I don't see anything eye to eye with him. Again, I don't know him personally. He may be the nicest guy, and he's always very cordial on the phone. He's always very nice. The right up until he's not, it's more of those kind of give you a little dig, and some mornings I'm just not up to it. Say what you want about me. I'll accept that. Whatever your comments are, I appreciate it. No, I don't think he does. Steve says they sit at home and yell at the radio. I'm not sure that he does that. He might, but he doesn't on his calls. When he calls in, he's very polite. Denise, liberals like to be angry all the time. So maybe he listens so he can get wound up. Yeah, possibly. And then there are times where I will do that. I will tune in and I will watch programs that normally I never watch. I'm like, okay, what's going on CNN? What's going on in MSNBC? And man, I can't last very long. We should make a contest of that. How long can Greg last? We will take the audio from MSNBC and run it, and we'll see how long can I last before I melt down. Not very long. Not very long. So when I'm on the air, I mean, honestly, I want to provide different views. I honestly do. And there is a difference, I think, between, let's say, folks who are in agreement. We're in agreement maybe 90% of the time. It may be much lower than that. I'm just using that to illustrate a point. let's say you and I agree most often. Most often we agree, right? And you call up because you disagree with me on something. Now, a lot of my callers, I have come to know them over the years. So I know who they are. I know they're loyal listeners. I know where they're at normally. So I'm going to react with a lot more patience than I will with somebody that I know is a leftist. And he's a leftist every time he calls. I have gotten to a point where I feel like we're in a battle, for the country right now. I say that very sincerely. These are things I don't necessarily talk about during the program. I'm more concerned about letting you know what's going on, and that's the job there. But as you and I are connecting here, I will tell you very candidly, I'm really concerned about what's going on in the country. And I'm not going to try to hide that. I'm also not going to freak out. I'm, uh, be at my wits' end, but my tolerance for that is a lot less. I just don't have the tolerance for that kind of nonsense that I have. And it was, Art calling up, and he was like, you know, again, the fact that we've got people on the voter rolls who don't belong there. And well, yeah, but do we know those people are voting? They're on the voter rolls. Why are they on the voter rolls if they're not allowed to vote? That it doesn't matter how many you're trying to qualify it. Well, and the same thing is going on at PBS. Look at that. There are headlines on this story from PBS, and it's the same thing. Well, this is a very small number of people who actually are actually voting. It's a very, very small number. So what? If it's one person, it's one person, and they shouldn't be voting. It's just that simple. I get really tired, and this is why I kind of went off on Art a little bit this morning. I get really tired of these left wingers who want to, but and you see that again, PBS, you see it from the legacy media all of the time. Hey, I don't care if it's one person or if it's 1,000 people. They shouldn't be voting. It's just that simple. They're not allowed to vote, period. Now, what's wrong with saying we're going to enforce that? And we want to make sure that everybody who votes is actually eligible to vote. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing is wrong with that. And I get really sick and tired of people who want to make me want to make me feel inadequate because I think we got to make sure that people are citizens before they vote. Whether or not it's an issue doesn't matter. It matters only in Art's mind. You don't your name should not be on the voter roll. You shouldn't be voting, period. What's so hard about that? I mean, this is like driving drunk. Well, I was only a little bit over the limit. I only had a few beers. That's all I had. You were over the limit. Sorry. Some things really are that black and white. And I get tired of folks who want to, no. There's so many different shades here. You got to look at it. I just don't buy that. I just do not accept that. And you can, say what you want about me. I appreciate that. But I think a lot of these things really are that clear. And it's always the left and the legacy media that want to say, oh, no, no. I think a lot of us we know the rules. We understand what the rules are. Okay. Everybody play by the rules and the law. This is what the law is. Boom. It's just that simple. It's always the left, I think, that makes these things harder and harder. Oh, I always love your comments. Hey, good morning, Jason. Good to see you here, Jason. Appreciated your comment on Facebook yesterday. Very much so. So some of you who are on YouTube, also on Facebook, and I appreciate that very, very much. Jeff, my two sons are starting college this year. They spent their grade school years riding to school while I listened to Greg. They now listen in their own cars. Thank you for influencing them so positively. Well, Jeff, you give me too much credit, my friend. I'm thinking they likely were following you, but thank you for having the show on in the car. And I will tell you, that is something that I have enjoyed. It's been a few years now, but there was somebody, I was out at an event a few years ago, and these younger guys came up to me and say, "Hey, I listened to the show," and I'm like, so nice to meet you. Tell me about yourself. Well, started listening when they were kids. Their dad had listened, like you, Jeff. Their dad had listened in the car. And so now they had grown up and now they were listening to the show on their own. And that, honestly, that's pretty flattering when you hear that. It really made my day, Jeff. So when you share a comment like that, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hey, Wayne, I think you're absolutely right. I can't think of any other country that allows foreigners to vote in their elections. Yeah, I know. It's just absolutely wild. I think the things that we see. Sean, November 5th, 2024, in every blue city, Night of the Living Dead. one of my favorite movies. That's really about all I've got today. We're just about pushing the 30-minute mark. So here it comes. Are you ready? My daily plea, please hit the like button. Hit the like button. It takes you virtually no effort. And a small number of you do. And thanks to those of you who do. A number of you do not. You watch and you don't hit the like button. And that happens. Again, I talked about this a little bit yesterday. Kim Commando on her show, she's got a lot more viewers and followers than I do. And she's having to plead with them, please hit that like button if you like what I'm doing. Hit that like button, share it. Yeah, better yet, share it. Share it with a like-minded friend. I know you've got like-minded friends. Just bring one person into the fourth hour of the Greg Belfrage show, and it's very much appreciated. I need you to be my worker bees out there and to let other people know about what I'm doing and say, hey, I'll watch it. I think you'd enjoy it. Give it a try. Certainly out nothing. Just let one person know. It would be very much appreciated. But again, please smash that like button. I appreciate it a lot. And we'll leave it there for today. Thanks again to all of you for being here, whether it's on the radio, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube. I appreciate all of you very, very much. Couldn't do what we do without you. So thanks again for being here. I'll see you again tomorrow. You take care until then.